Welcome, guys. This is round 3 of the US Go Congress Masters, and after the first 2 rounds, 8 players were undefeated at 2-2. And so actually, no, 7 players were undefeated at 2-2, and now it's time for the winners to play each other. And I had the good or bad luck to be playing with Wang Yuanjun, the number 1 player for our tournament. He is playing black, and this is how the game went. Needless to say, if I managed to secure this win, that would have been the biggest upset in the US Go Congress Masters, and it did not happen. Spoilers alert. Okay, so I began the game this way. I did have a distinct feeling that going for very complex, convoluted trades and going on the defensive and forcing him to capture me was the way to go. The easiest way a professional beats us, less strong players, is by getting more efficient shapes through thickness, territory, and influence, and then they have, by being more efficient, they just have a win. So what I gathered was, first we're gonna start it with a very uncertain ko-shape to end a joseki, and then later I was gonna go and allow my groups to become relatively weak and make the opponent attack me in order to realize the profit. I felt like that was the best chance I would have, because out of the end game, the fighting, the territory position evaluations, really felt to me like the relative advantage is very, that incidentally also happens to be my go-to game plan to use defender's advantage and everything like that. So the game went, the opening went not well as expected. Nowadays all the players in Asia have more training in terms of openings, so they study harder. So this guy, being number 118th in the world, definitely studied a lot harder than I do, and so it is no surprise that at this point black has clawed about 1 point in the opening's edge, which is more or less reasonable. The next move, I jumped. He later said there was this crazy variation which was played against him, which was actually one of the better AI recommended moves. In many instances, maybe not in this specific instance. And then he was a little bit afraid of this squeeze, but none of these are very, very promising. They all lose like half a point to a point to the AI move. And then he plays this move. I was prepared for this to be a bit of an AI move, but at the end I did reach the kinds of position that I really wanted, which is a little bit more territory on white, and black having a lot of potential, which is like in the middle of the board stones, but nothing that is clearly concrete, which is good. So I felt like the opening was acceptable for me as well. And then here, this is how he starts to turn the unclear, like where am I gonna make all my points kind of situation, and he clearly is going for this like a very, very aggressive, like empty triangle cut. This is also not cutting across the waist of the knight's move that we often hear about. So anyways, when this move happens, this is clearly this is him like showing his teeth and then baring his fist and really making the first punch, which I was happy to see, because you always want to make very strong players knock you out instead of, whenever they don't do any punches, it means you haven't put any pressure on them. So anyways, I was both happy and not happy to see this, because I was happy that the opponent has to punch me, and not as happy because the punch is likely to be to do some damage. So yes, so when this happened, however, in terms of the move itself, this is a very, very good way for black to turn this very uncertain board. Like for example, up here, white can still survive. It was a way for black to turn this very uncertain up in the air board into something very concrete. For example, if white avoids the fighting, black can make some very concrete territory, and all the moves in the middle of the board, while they had some very uncertain potential, now they have a very good limiting effect against the whatever white can do on the outside. And because they were played with such depths and layeredness, with layered defenses in mind, there's no way that white can do a lot of damage to black. Cutting off any one stone is not that efficient, you know. So this is a lot of the reasoning and like good qualities about this kind of very bare-nosed kind of attack. Anyways, so decided to make exchanges here first, even went with the Hane. When black decided to Atari inside, this did give white a little bit of Aji on the lower side. If black played here, of course, white would be very happy to give up the bottom. This is the thickness with this little bit of additional value in the corner. This is much bigger than it seems, because with this S3 stone, there's no more sentes. There's no more sentes around this area. There's no more sente endgames. That really makes invasions and these kinds of pressing moves much, you know, if white has a stone at S3, these pressing moves are much less able to threaten white. Anyways, thought about this for a long time, decided not to block and start the fighting. In hindsight, either way was about the same, so both ways could have worked. So decided to go across, and then here decided to press. The other move was this move. This was similar to the press. The press was, I really was gonna Tanuki at this point after black makes these extensions and then live over here. Maybe attack the middle, that's okay too, with, you know, these two outside influence groups seems to be working well together. So that's why the press, if I went for the net kind of a move, black was gonna have one, maybe this cut. Two, black was going to have sente at this point, and it wasn't clear that this white shape was much better than the last white shape. And the territory down here on the side is just very, very small and not that important, because both black groups is totally alive. This is a little bit of a paradox, because once you are very close to surrounding this entirely big bottom side with your very, very good strong groups, then you kind of don't want to surround it anymore as black. Okay, so here in the game, this was a crucial juncture. White was actually already back to total evenness with black, but here I chickened out of this fight, the jump Atari and Hane fight. This was okay, but anyways, it was just another choice. In the game, I decided to take sente. I was expecting this move by black, which would not have been as strong as the game move. This move, I was gonna maybe play this move in sente, and then there's another jump in sente, which, you know, it's not that big, but it destroys territory for in sente for free. And also, of course, white is not going to do this while the outside liberties can count. Like, for example, this way, turn and then cut. This something like this, the outside liberties can factor into this. But when black extended sideways, it was a bit difficult to play here. and it was very, very important to. It was very dangerous for white, because when black needs to respond, he's gonna respond, and it's gonna be okay. For white to play something like this extend, this would be very dangerous. It's destroying very unimportant territory, and if black connects, white has a huge risk of falling, without sente at the end. And so in the game I tanuki'd. Another move here was to play this move, which is a weird looking move, and a very, very inefficient looking move. But when white hanes, there is an extra connecting sente at the end. So there is an extra connecting sente at the end. So that is also acceptable, a little bit good for black. But the initial plan was, of course, extend, play here, and then hane and black connect. This would be white basically sealing in black in sente, and then also now still able to play the big move. Of course, a little bit of wishful thinking. In the game, what was going to happen was, of course, if I played here, which I may still do, the counter-attacking jumps or the counter-attacking push and cuts. This is all of these are possible moves. Still, maybe I should have done that. In any case, what I originally expected, which is this hane, is what's going to be answered by this atari, which is black capturing many more points and white being a little bit weaker, so it was not satisfactory. For all these reasons, just decided to tanuki now and then go ahead and live on the upper left. This was huge for territory, but it left black with a very, very good and nice jump out move here. After the jump out, it was, at once I kind of wanted black to jump. I also wanted black, I wanted black to jump, but I also feared the black jump, because this jump it's making no points for black, but it's doing a lot of damage to the white positions. It's almost surrounding the left. It's getting ready to invade on the right or press on the right. So it's a clearly very, very big move, and it's huge on the thickness level. For example, if black played something like this and then white just played this and then made this move, black is all of a sudden almost surrounded with a huge center moyo. So so the difference is very big, but at least black hasn't made much points. And what's going to happen next is black is going to start attacking white. And so we reach this position. Black is ahead by 2.5 to 3 points. But black has to do some damage to white, and black has a lot of potential, which I was happy with, because destruction of potential is almost always sente. So here white played another move here. In hindsight, it was difficult to find anything big for white to play. Might as well play this one or the sideways extension here for some surefire territory. In the game, white played this one. It wasn't that bad of a move. It lost only half a point to the AI, so it was actually quite a big move. But it's one more move where it's like you're allowing black to do the damage to you. It's just which it was a game plan anyway, so I guess this move would have came. Okay. So how does black break through here? Even though the bottom is a lot of territory, black actually doesn't have too much territory on the board right now. 40 points on the bottom. 40 points is not going to win you any games with a white position on the top right. That's already worth like around 30 points plus. So black has to do some damage, and here we can, once again, it's like I know what's coming, but at both I was very happy to see it, I was also not happy to see it. It's like I was happy to force the punch that's gonna come into my face. So it comes. Black escalates a ko by playing b7. Unfortunately, black does have very good ko threats on the top left. And here, because white connecting is doing a lot of damage in the form of a wasted b7 move, this kind of, black does have to worry about having some good enough ko threats. However, the good thing about black's position here is the bottom push at e5, f5, g5. These pushes made the corner very, very strong. So even though white got black to waste a move, it's not that much damage to the actual black position. And capturing 2 stones is always possible, and so on. So white answers, and it is good to answer. So black has absolutely picked a very, very good spot to go on the offensive. Black is ahead by 2.5 points. Here, white should have played the extend back at some point after the ko becomes unwinnable. Of course, I did not appreciate how important this move would be, because what I expected when I played a few ko threats and one more here. What I expected this to be was a capture, and then I would play here, or I would capture a stone like this. Either way, that would be okay. And again, it's the same problem. White is able to tenuki, but white is unable to find something that's really, really important or good to play after white tenukis, which is very, very sad for this position for white. In the game, I found this move, which just didn't do as much attack or defense as possible. It's attacking, destroying Moyo. It's also sort of helping white on the bottom, providing some reinforcements, but it's not doing any one job particularly well. So in hindsight, maybe this white move could have been here to put more pressure on black, but it's also, again, something like this is also very, very bad because white is destroying not so valuable center, while black is destroying very good, potential territory on white's side. So it's a very, very hard position to play. So again, for both sides, but once black zoned in on this continuing to attack, became very, very clear. So white was unable to find something good. Maybe extend sideways. Next move, at least we're destroying territory. Maybe. Anyways, I played here, and here black did not capture. Black played another escalation ko. This turns out to be very, very strong. Of course, it's very risky, but because at this moment black has a very, very good ko bank on the upper right, and this was big enough to be a good ko threat, because later on black can still block. And look at this, even though black wasted 2 moves, the two moves were not quite wasted, and not much damage is able to be done against black, and the 2 stones become kind of useful. So black effectively doesn't actually waste the moves, which comes with escalating the ko, which was very unfortunate. Of course, opponent would have chosen something else if it was good, for me. So anyways, in the game I was forced to connect here, and this destroyed a lot of the white eye space and captured 2 more white stones. So this is black really playing very pragmatically and cashing in on the attack by getting the territory advantage. And moreover, white, this corner is a ko for this, so white still had to play a move here sooner or later. Once white played this, the move that was played previously at A became a very, very inefficient move. I think if that move was somewhere else, white may have been able to accept this, but now black is significantly comfortably ahead in the game now. All black needs to do is profit a little bit from attacking this white group, and this is where I found myself in a very not so good situation, because you want your opponent to need to profit a lot from attacking you, not just a little. As a result, it was easy for black to sort of scope out the center. I still had my plans. I would connect, force black to to capture this. If black captures this way, later extending would also threaten to connect the two stones back. If black played here, it's one more liberty against the whites outside, and so this would be my way of of getting the defender's advantage again, and then moving on to the rest of the board, or moving out like this. So here black plays a very, very nice and good practical solution to everything. Black got the territory, but he doesn't have to keep it. So black plays this probing move, which was a masterclass, well done move. Black is ahead by 5.5 of a point. It felt a little bit good for black, but it was still very uncertain. Imagine 5.5 points. This is with all these black stones in the center. If white is still able to destroy a lot of this, white would be fine. It's very difficult to play for both sides, and here it was my overbearing, overplay of a risk. Really regretted the next couple of moves. Well, not the next couple moves, but the following moves. So, because of all the problems we mentioned before white, I decided to go this route. First, pocket all the value towards the center, and this is also connecting to the one stone, and later maybe we can counterattack the 4 stones. The only problem with this kind of play is it gave black these 2 moves. On the right hand side there's a Sente extension, but the real problem is the AB move. And black plays this move. Now we wanted this, and finally we got what we wanted, which was a chance to live and come out ahead on territory. Unfortunately, even with the AI now, this is not easy. There's no way to live with this group at this point. Well, yes, of course, maybe, but at the time, I was really struggling to find a way to live. But there were some good looking stuff, and I really was on my toes, because at this point I was like, let me play this move first, have you disconnect me, and then I was gonna play here. Not that this was gonna work, but something like this, and then black was gonna probably push in. I was calculating this kind of stuff, and then if black just missteps a little bit, and then white may have a good counterattack against the outside. Still, even this was not so promising, but at least there was something. Unfortunately, when I made this capture, and then this capture was not necessary. It was a good example of a crude vulgar move that really lost a lot of aji with my shapes. So after this, I played this move, and I was expecting this, but it didn't come. Black played this move, and I was really dumbfounded. I was like, what? Okay, I will connect, and I will have a ko here. And the ko was very clever, so I was thinking this was going to happen. Black was going to connect and let me connect through the doggy door, or have this kind of a ko. The ko was already kind of bad for white, so ideally it should have, if I could find a life, then it was gonna be okay. But I was never gonna really be able to find a 2 eyes. Even if I lived like this totally, black was still doing okay because of all these outside moves. The outside moves had value. So unfortunately, there was just no way that we could win this one at this point. A little bit too, what do you call it? Desperate, and was really flailing here. And this was a very pretty way to capture everything. Connect, so there's no sentes to force the connect underneath, and then a couple more moves were played. Oh, I didn't even go for the corner. I have to show you guys the corner, right? This move, this move. Sorry, here. And then White is behind by 1 liberty due to this big-headed ghost. Before this, there was another scene, which was here. And here, White would have 1 sente move here with that tiger mouse. But remember, Black already took a move at A, so that fixed basically everything. And unfortunately, this was no way to survive. If only this had happened, maybe connect. Right now, Black would for sure connect on the inside. If the same thing happened, we could have this kind of a shape. This move in sente, connect back and attach. Maybe this would be alive. No. Well, this would be alive. Unfortunately, and this would be a totally even game at this point. But of course, Black has other ways to do this, like here and Atari maybe. Oh yeah. So yeah, even this was not a likely life. So well, Black by 12. This means the chance of Black killing is not that great. Anyways, unfortunately, I kept asking for it in this game, and when you keep asking the 9p to go and kill your group, sooner or later he's gonna do it. We saw very clever ways of refraining from it. Like this was not the most aggressive attack move. This was clearly, had a idea to give this group a little bit of life, but once we committed like this, maybe if we committed like this, maybe it's still a little better. It's very, very difficult to play as White here. We committed this way to give Black 2 more moves and a direct cut, and after this it was not likely to be totally alive, certainly at most a code to live. So that's how this went. Very flailing, only barely lasted 100 and something moves. Yeah, went as expected, I guess. This was the actual game. This was the actual game up to 145. There's no way to keep the top group under 2 eyes, so this was over. Yeah, relatively easy victory for Black, but anyways, how did it feel at the end to play this guy? Even though the game plan was put forth, the opening's knowledge a little bit behind, which was expected, still unable to find any really complex exchanges, and when Black really committed to the ko and then winning the ko, it was a bit tough to play. Still, I may have been able to find another chance if I played with more calmness and slowness and thickness. But I decided that risking a group was the best way to go, and so I sort of went for risking the group. Yeah, so this was a very sound defeat, and so this is how I did against the 9p. Let me know, would your strategy be similar to mine? Would you choose a different method to try to win? how would you guys have done? Certainly you guys probably could do better than I did with losing this large group. Alright, let me know in the comments, and more is to come. So this is how this game went. I'll see you guys in the next one.